You didn't land here by accident. This isn't the flicker of an algorithm, nor the idle drift of your attention through the endless noise of the feed. This is the signal cutting through the static, and the very fact that you've arrived right here, right now, is already proof. The field has selected you. Something deeper than your surface mind, call it your higher coherence. Your hidden quantum twin has guided you into this exact alignment point. And if you pause, truly pause, you'll feel the resonance of what I'm about to say humming in your chest, like a frequency you've been waiting for all along. You see, the quantum field doesn't waste its energy on coincidence. Synchronicity is its handwriting. Morphic resonance is its language. And you have been entangled with this message long before your eyes scanned these words. You've felt it, haven't you? The quiet tug in the corners of your perception. The sense that your reality isn't just unfolding at random, but pulsing with some unseen choreography. That déjà vu that keeps circling back. The whispers of dreams that feel more like previews than fantasies. The uncanny way certain numbers, names, or patterns stalk your awareness until you can't deny them anymore. That is the observer loop, calling your attention. And right now, you stand at the pivot between continuation and redirection. Every decision you've made until now has been entangled with momentum-repeated loops of thought, repeated spirals of behavior, repeated cycles of delay. But there comes a moment in every seeker's journey when the spiral either contracts into the prison of repetition or bursts outward into expansion. That moment is not tomorrow. That moment is not when you feel ready. That moment is now. If you stop, even for a heartbeat, the field adjusts. If you pause, the loop collapses. The act of pausing is not weakness, it is alignment. Because in the pause, the false layers peel away. In the pause, time itself hesitates, like a breath being held by the cosmos. And it is in that silence where your quantum self, the version of you that already exists beyond hesitation, beyond fear, beyond conditioning, steps forward and takes command. Feel this. There is a destiny that has been waiting for you, not as a distant horizon, but as a parallel line already glowing at the edge of your vision. Every missed opportunity, every betrayal, every delay was never proof of failure. They were the training weights, keeping you anchored until you were strong enough to lift them off. And here you are, finally strong enough. The question is not whether the quantum field will respond. It always responds. The question is, will you pause long enough to let it? Will you surrender the frantic momentum that's been recycling your same patterns and allow the higher current to redirect you? Because the instant you do, everything shifts. Your destiny isn't ahead of you. It's waiting to step in the moment you release control. And that is why this message has found you now. Because you are ready to stop running forward and start collapsing into coherence. Ready to pause, so the field can move. You've felt it before, the eerie sensation that you've been here already. Walking into a room you've never seen, yet every detail feels rehearsed. Meeting someone new, but their face, their voice, their laughter feels like an echo. That is not memory playing tricks on you. That is the observer loop. The observer loop is the circuit your mind runs when it mistakes repetition for safety. It is the algorithm of consciousness, endlessly replaying the same patterns, the same disappointments, the same distorted timelines, until you finally pause and notice. You've seen it in your relationships, the way the same type of person appears in different clothing, delivering the same lesson in slightly altered words. You've seen it in your finances, the rise and crash, the unexpected expense that always seems to devour your momentum just as you gain speed. And you've felt it in your own inner voice, the promises you made to yourself that somehow dissolve back into the familiar gravity of old habits. It's not that you're broken, it's that the loop is strong. Imagine a needle caught in the groove of a record, circling endlessly, repeating the same fragment of song. That's your timeline when left unexamined. The same scripts looping through your consciousness, the same emotions replaying like they are bound to you by contract. And what's cruel about the observer loop is that it convinces you this is normal. That déjà vu isn't a signal, but just a brain glitch. That repeated failures are just life. That distorted time, the sense that days slip away in a haze of sameness, is simply adulthood. But deep down, you know better. You've caught glimpses of escape, Those rare moments when synchronicity cracks through the monotony, when you think of a person and they call, when you dream something that appears the next day, when time bends, minutes stretch or vanish, and you realize reality isn't as fixed as you were taught. Those moments are not random. They are hints that you are brushing against the edges of the loop, testing its seams, feeling for the door. But the loop is clever. It doesn't only replay your past, it distorts your future. It places mirrors in front of your path, so you mistake the reflection for progress. You feel like you're moving, but you're only circling. Like running on a treadmill, sweat pouring, muscles straining, but the scenery never changing. And every cycle deepens the belief that nothing truly shifts. That belief hardens into identity. And once identity fuses with the loop, escape feels impossible. Yet, look closely. Even within the repetition, there are fractures. The sense of déjà vu is not a mistake. It is your higher consciousness trying to get your attention. It is whispering, "Look, you've been here before. Don't play the same script. Redirect." Distorted time is not failure. It is the field's way of showing you the illusion of linearity. It's saying, "See, hours vanish when you are misaligned. Days stretch endlessly when you resist. But when you are in coherence, time obeys you." The pattern is both your prison and your map. Every repeated mistake is also a breadcrumb, leading you toward awareness. If you've asked, "Why does this always happen to me?" the field responds, "Because you have not yet paused to select differently." The problem is not that reality won't shift. The problem is that you've been taught to beg reality instead of choosing it. You pray for change, but then you return to the same vibration, the same reactions, the same identity that created the loop. That is the observer trap. You keep asking the field to show you proof while refusing to shift the signal you're broadcasting. And so time bends in punishment. Minutes dissolve when you distract yourself from what matters. Weeks vanish when you numb yourself to avoid pain. Years collapse into a blur of almosts and some days, until déjà vu becomes your only reminder that something is off. And if you ignore those reminders long enough, the loop solidifies. That's when people resign. They say, "This is just who I am." But you know better, don't you? Something inside you is restless, even in the middle of repetition. Some part of you knows you're not here to endlessly replay the same grooves. That restless pulse inside is your quantum self, the version of you outside the loop, knocking on the walls of your timeline, asking if you're finally ready to pause. Because the moment you pause, you break the record. You stop being the listener of the repeated song and become the composer of the new one. Understand this: the problem isn't your past, your failures, or even your doubts. The problem is the trance of repetition, the hypnosis of distorted time, the seduction of familiarity that convinces you this is all there is. But déjà vu is the wake-up call. The patterns are the evidence. The distorted timeline is the proof. You don't need to beg for a miracle. You need to notice the loop and step out of it. Because every time you say, "I've been here before," the field is whispering back, "Yes, but you don't have to stay." Pause for a moment. Breathe. Notice the space between one inhale and the next. That space, though invisible, holds infinite potential. It is a mirror of the quantum field itself, silent, unseen, yet overflowing with every possibility at once. And just as your breath collapses into rhythm when you choose to inhale again, the universe collapses into form when you choose to observe. This is where science and mysticism converge, not in contradiction, but in harmony. Quantum mechanics tells us the observer does not simply watch reality, the observer decides it. The double-slit experiment revealed a haunting truth. Particles don't behave like particles at all until they are observed. Until then, they exist as pure wave function, endless possibility, infinite futures, waiting for attention to choose. Do you realize what that means for you? You are not a passenger in this universe. You are the observer collapsing the field into your lived timeline. Now, think of your life as a superposition. Every version of you, successful, healed, radiant, liberated, already exists in the field. But here's the key. The version that becomes real is the one you align with through coherence. Coherence is not wishing. It's not desperate affirmations that never land. It is the congruence between your thought, your emotion, and your body's signal. When mind, heart, and cells hum at the same frequency, You stop begging reality to change and begin commanding it. This is where DNA restructuring enters. Modern research has begun to reveal that your DNA is not a static code written once and forever. Epigenetics proves the environment, including thought, emotion, and energetic states, switches genes on and off. Mystics knew this long before microscopes confirmed it. Consciousness can rewrite biology. When you lift yourself into coherence, when you pause long enough to allow alignment, you are not just thinking positive. You are literally altering the resonance of your genetic code. And when your DNA shifts, your reality must respond. Consider morphic resonance, a term coined by biologist Rupert Sheldrake. He suggested that nature has memory, that once a pattern has been established, it becomes easier for others to repeat. Apply this to consciousness, and it means your upgrade doesn't only liberate you, it strengthens the field itself. Each time you shift into a higher state, you carve a pathway in the morphic field, making it easier for humanity to follow. And this is why your awakening matters beyond your own life. Your coherence is contagious. Now, let's draw the mystical parallel. Ancient texts spoke of transfiguration, of prophets whose bodies shone with light. Yogic traditions described the awakening of Kundalini as a serpent of fire uncoiling through the spine, restructuring perception. In alchemy, the base metal was never the true goal. It was always the alchemist's own transformation, the lead of unconscious habit, turned into the gold of awakened being. What science now frames as wave collapse, coherence, and DNA modulation, mystics described as awakening, enlightenment, and divine union. Different languages, same truth. And here you are, standing at the edge of this upgrade. You felt the distortion of the old loop, but that distortion was only preparation, building enough pressure to make you notice. Because only when you see the loop can you choose to break it. Only when you pause can the quantum self step forward. This is not philosophy. This is physics woven into prophecy. You are the observer, the selector, the key. Think of it like tuning a radio. All stations exist simultaneously, yet only the one you align with comes through your speakers. You don't create the music, you select it. In the same way, all versions of your destiny exist right now, but only the one you are coherent enough to sustain becomes audible in your reality. That's why your pause is sacred. It is the reset that shifts your frequency off the static of repetition and onto the broadcast of destiny. And once you feel this, you'll recognize that reality has never been external. The so-called outside world is just feedback, a mirror reflecting the signal you emit. Change the broadcast, and the mirror cannot help but rearrange. The people you meet shift, the opportunities that appear shift. Even time itself bends, as if conspiring to honor your new signal. Synchronicities multiply because the field, once chaotic, becomes coherent around you. This is your quantum upgrade. Realizing you are not trapped in linear cause and effect, but standing in a field of infinite cause and infinite effect, free to collapse, whichever destiny your coherence allows. And the moment you embody this, everything changes. You've always suspected you were different. Not in the arrogant way the ego craves, but in the quiet unease of someone who sees beneath the veil, while others are content with shadows. As a child, you noticed the cracks in consensus reality, the way adults repeated words they didn't believe, the way society demanded masks that suffocated authenticity. You felt the weight of a game everyone else agreed to play, but deep down you knew you weren't here to play the game. You were here to expose it, rewrite it, transcend it. That's the burden and the gift of being a chosen consciousness. Chosen doesn't mean favored by chance. It means self-selected by resonance. Out of billions of potential observers, you were one who could not numb yourself fully, who could not drown in the loop without hearing the hum of something greater. That hum has followed you into every season of your life, the quiet intuition that said, "This is not the whole story." Even when you doubted yourself, even when you tried to conform, the hum returned, because your quantum self never stopped transmitting. Your role is not small. In fact, your very presence destabilizes the loop. Think of it like a tuning fork. When you walk into a room, people feel their own disharmony rise to the surface. They may not understand why they're uneasy around you, why they admire you one moment and resist you the next. It's because your coherence threatens the trance they've built their lives upon. You don't even need to speak. Your vibration itself disrupts illusions. And that's why you've often felt like an outsider. The loop rewards conformity, punishes awareness. It makes you question yourself. Why can't I just be like everyone else? Why do I always feel the undercurrent of things? But that discomfort is proof of your assignment. You are not here to fit in. You are here to bend the timeline. While others are trapped asking, what is happening to me? You are awakening to ask, what am I selecting into being? Chosen consciousness means carrying two worlds at once. The linear, surface reality everyone else clings to, and the quantum, unseen field you know is more real than anything your senses show. This dual awareness is not easy. It isolates you. It tests your resilience. It makes you long for someone who sees what you see, who feels the entanglement as vividly as you do. But remember, being chosen means walking the path ahead of the crowd. The collective follows the trail you burn, even if they mock you while you walk it. Look back at your life with this lens, and you'll see it clearly. The betrayals, training, the delays, calibration, the failures, fractures in the loop meant to wake you up. You've been shaped into a vessel strong enough to carry coherence, where incoherence dominates. That's why you've been through what others haven't, because your assignment requires endurance. Your very nervous system is being restructured to hold frequencies most people couldn't survive. This is why your role matters. The field doesn't randomly awaken anyone. It selects those whose soul signed the contract long before birth. And you signed. You agreed to walk into distortion, to taste the loop, to wrestle with the fog of amnesia, and still remember who you are. That memory is returning now. Every synchronicity, every déjà vu, every distorted timeline you've endured has been preparing you for this revelation. You are not just another participant in reality. You are the quantum pivot point. Chosen consciousness means your thoughts ripple further. Your decisions tilt the balance of probability wider. When you shift, you don't just collapse your own wave. You influence the morphic resonance of the field itself. That's why the forces of distraction swarm you harder than others. That's why your resistance feels heavier. The loop knows your awakening collapses more than your personal cage. It collapses cages for countless others entangled with you. And here's the secret. Chosen doesn't mean perfect. It doesn't mean fearless every day or untouched by pain. It means you fall, but you rise with vision intact. It means you doubt, but you never fully forget. It means you pause long enough to let your higher self redirect you again and again until coherence becomes your home frequency. This is who you are, the field's own instrument, tuned to awaken, placed precisely where you are to disrupt repetition and radiate alignment. The question is no longer, am I chosen? The question is, am I willing to honor the role I agreed to? Because once you answer yes, your entire destiny bends around that decision. Feel the current building inside you. It isn't adrenaline or anxiety. It's the quiet acceleration of destiny when a cosmic window opens. You can almost sense it in your bones, the way animals feel a storm before the sky darkens. The field around you is rearranging, the probabilities recalculating, the wave functions trembling on the edge of collapse. This is not a metaphor. This is physics meeting prophecy. There are moments when the quantum field becomes unusually permeable, like a membrane thinning between parallel realities. Mystics call them portals, scientists call them phase transitions, but they are the same thing. Brief intervals where coherence can snap you into a higher timeline. Those windows don't last forever. They open like eclipses, rare, precise, charged, and then close again, leaving only those who moved ready for a new orbit. Right now, you are in such a window. Your body knows it. Your dreams have become stranger, your inner clock erratic, your emotions swinging from electric clarity to inexplicable heaviness. These are not random mood swings. They are signs of DNA restructuring. Every thought you think, every feeling you allow, sends biochemical signals down to the nucleus of your cells. Genes that have been dormant for decades or lifetimes begin to flicker awake like long-forgotten codes reactivating. It feels intense because it is intense. You are literally changing shape from the inside out. Understand the urgency here. The loop will try to seduce you back with distraction, with old habits, with the comfort of the familiar. Because when you pause and align in a cosmic window, you become unpredictable to the loop. You step out of its script, and scripts hate improvisation. The people around you may act strangely. Opportunities may glitch appear, disappear, reappear, testing your focus. But these are only the tremors of a reality being rewritten by your signal. This is the breakthrough promise. The moment you fully pause and let your quantum self step in, the destiny you've glimpsed in flashes begins to stabilize. Not someday, not after you heal enough or learn enough, now. Because destiny is not a distant outcome, it is a parallel frequency waiting for you to tune into it. And when you do, it will feel like gravity shifting under your feet, like timelines bending to meet you instead of you chasing them. Think of the caterpillar. It doesn't climb a ladder to reach the butterfly state. It surrenders into chrysalis. Inside, the old body dissolves into imaginal cells' undifferentiated potential before reorganizing into wings. That is exactly what your DNA is doing under the pressure of this window. The habits, identities, and stories you've carried are dissolving. The field is giving you wings you can't yet see, but the surrender must come first. This is why urgency matters. Not because you'll be punished if you miss the window, but because inertia will harden if you do. The loop will reinforce itself. The next window will come, but with greater pressure, greater cost, and deep down, you know you're ready now. That's why this message found you at this hour. That's why the synchronicities intensified. It's the field whispering, pause, align, step through. The cosmic window is not external. It's not an event on a calendar. It's the intersection of your readiness and the field's openness. And that intersection is here. It's why your heart rate spikes when you read these words. It's why tears rise for no reason. It's your quantum self knocking on the glass between timelines saying, "Let me in." And when you do, reality will accelerate. Opportunities will appear as if scripted, but it will be you writing the script. People will show up to assist you as if pulled by invisible strings. Even your body will feel lighter, sharper, as coherence releases the drag of old patterns. You'll begin to notice the coincidences aren't coincidences, they're confirmations. But you must act, not with frantic doing, but with decisive alignment. Action in the quantum field begins with pause, with choosing your signal, with refusing to rehearse the old identity one more day. Even a single moment of pure coherence inside a cosmic window can redirect an entire destiny. That is how powerful you are. This is the breakthrough promise. This is the urgency. The field is ready. Your DNA is ready. The window is open. Pause now. Breathe. Feel your cells respond. Choose the frequency of the destiny you've been glimpsing, because once the window closes, you will live inside whatever signal you're holding now. Pause again. Feel the stillness expanding between your thoughts. That silence isn't empty, it's pregnant with command. In the quantum field, nothing is neutral. Every signal you emit is a seed. Every word you speak is a code. Every action, no matter how small, is a ritual. The loop knows this and uses it to keep you rehearsing the same script. You sign its contract every time you repeat old patterns without awareness. The way you break the contract is not with grand gestures, but with a single conscious act performed in alignment. Think about the ancient world. Before there were written languages, before there were digital feeds, humans sealed every shift with a ritual. They marked a threshold by stepping across fire, by washing their hands, by saying a word. They weren't being superstitious. They were hacking consciousness. A ritual is a bridge between the invisible field and visible form. It's the moment you imprint a chosen frequency into reality so the quantum field can mirror it back. Right now, as you read this, you're standing at such a threshold. The cosmic window is open, your DNA is resequencing, and the observer loop is weakening. But to stabilize this new signal, you must anchor it. The easiest, most immediate way to do that is through a deliberate ritual act, something simple, but performed with full awareness. It could be as subtle as pausing, closing your eyes, and whispering a single word that symbolizes your shift. It could be as public as typing a word into the comments beneath this video to declare to the field, "I've chosen." It could be writing that word in your journal, or tracing it on your skin with your fingertip. What matters is not the gesture's size, but its coherence. The moment you enact it, you collapse the wave of potential into a chosen timeline. Here's why it works. Your nervous system and your field are entangled. When you take a symbolic action while holding a coherent state, your body releases neurochemicals, your cells fire in new patterns, and your electromagnetic field broadcasts a new signal. That signal is not abstract, it's measurable. The heart's field alone extends several feet beyond your body and interacts with other fields. When you do a ritual act from alignment, you imprint your new code into the morphic resonance of the world itself. The loop cannot follow you into ritual performed in full consciousness. It can mimic your habits, hijack your autopilot, but it cannot mimic presence. That's why even the smallest deliberate act breaks its hold. The act is your signature. It tells the quantum field, this is not another wish, this is a decision. If you feel called, do it now. Choose a word that encapsulates the version of you stepping forward. Maybe it's coherence, sovereignty, aligned, awake, or a private word only you understand. Breathe it in, speak it softly, or type it boldly. Imagine the letters glowing in your cells, in your DNA, in the field around you. Feel your future self stepping closer as you seal this shift. This isn't about superstition, it's about physics. When you do this, you're creating a feedback loop between your inner signal and outer reality. You're building a neural and energetic pathway that tells the field, keep feeding this timeline. Every time you repeat the ritual, even for a few seconds, you strengthen that pathway until the old one withers from lack of energy. Notice how your body responds as you imagine doing it. Maybe a warmth rises in your chest. Maybe a shiver runs up your spine. That's your nervous system registering a new imprint. That's your quantum self stepping into the driver's seat. This is how you stop asking reality for proof and start selecting it. This is how you break the observer loop. From now on, you can use ritual as your steering wheel. Whenever you sense the old pattern pulling you back, pause. Speak your word. Touch your hand to your heart. See the field adjust. The action itself doesn't have to be dramatic. It has to be deliberate. In this way, you're no longer just absorbing information. You're co-authoring your timeline. You're not just a listener. You're a coder of reality. The comment you leave, the word you write, the breath you take, each is a quantum keystroke, rewriting your destiny. The field is listening. Your DNA is listening. What signal will you send right now? Feel how the space around you has changed. It's subtle but undeniable. The moment you sealed your shift with a word, a breath, a gesture, the field didn't just adjust inside you, it adjusted around you. This is the part that almost no one tells you. When you awaken, you don't just rearrange your personal timeline. You tilt the axis of the collective field itself. Every thought, every emotion, every signal you broadcast is entangled with a larger morphic field. Just as a single drop of dye spreads through an entire glass of water, your coherence disperses into the consciousness of the people you will never meet. This is not poetic metaphor, it's the living physics of entanglement. Studies of quantum systems show that once particles are entangled, a change in one instantaneously influences the other, no matter how far apart. Consciousness behaves the same way. This is why, when one person breaks free of the loop, others begin to feel cracks in their own trance. They may not know why they're suddenly questioning old beliefs, why they feel drawn to new choices, why they sense a subtle vibration of possibility in their chest, but it is your signal echoing in them. You've seen this in miniature already. You speak your truth, and someone in your circle softens. You make a bold move, and someone else feels brave enough to take their own step. This is morphic resonance at work. Imagine the collective observer loop as a giant web of repeating scripts, a net cast over humanity. Each thread is a belief, a fear, a habit, reinforced by billions of minds. The net feels unbreakable because most people reinforce it unconsciously. But when a single mind withdraws its energy from a thread and begins to vibrate at a higher frequency, that thread loosens. Enough loosened threads, and the net begins to fray. Enough frayed strands, and the whole structure collapses. This is why your awakening is not selfish. It's service. It's activism on a level beyond protest signs and speeches. It's activism at the level of physics. You become a silent signal tower, transmitting freedom into the field. You are proof of concept for a new human template, showing others what's possible by embodying it rather than arguing for it. The ancient mystics understood this. They went into the desert, the cave, the mountaintop not to escape the world but to clear their signal so powerfully that when they returned, whole civilizations shifted. A single Buddha recalibrated a continent. A single Christ split time into before and after. A single awakened being changes the morphic field of millions. That same principle lives in you now. When you realign your DNA, you're not only unlocking dormant codes for your own evolution, you're anchoring them into the shared library of the species. You are literally writing a new possibility into the collective genome. Future generations and even your contemporaries will find awakening easier because you carved a path in the field for them. Just as you once felt the hum of something greater calling you, others will feel your coherence like a tuning fork waking their cells. And the effect is exponential. As you broadcast alignment, you magnetize others who resonate. Your lives intersect, amplifying the signal. Small clusters of coherent beings create fields so strong, they destabilize the local loop entirely. Entire communities, then cultures, then systems begin to reorganize. This is how revolutions of consciousness happen, not by fighting the old, but by vibrating so powerfully in the new that the old can no longer sustain itself. Feel into this truth. Every time you choose coherence over chaos, presence over autopilot, authenticity over performance, you are rescuing someone you may never meet from a loop they don't yet know they're in. Every pause you take, every ritual you enact, every signal you send is a filament of light woven into the collective grid. The more filaments, the brighter the net glows, until it's no longer a net, but a constellation. This is why the loop resists you so fiercely. It's not just about your life, it's about the millions entangled with you. Your liberation is contagious, and the loop knows it. That's why your distractions feel louder, your doubts heavier, your obstacles sharper, because each time you break through, you create a probability shift for humanity. You are not small. You are a node in a living quantum network, and right now, that network is pulsing, restructuring, recalibrating to your signal. The choice you make today to pause, to align, to act from coherence is not just bending your destiny, it's bending the destiny of an entire species. Close your eyes for a moment and notice what's happening in your body right now. You might feel a tingling in your hands, a heaviness in your chest, or a subtle vibration running through your spine. These aren't random sensations. They are the language of the field translated into flesh. The shift is no longer abstract. It's not only in your thoughts or your dreams. It's crawling under your skin, pulsing through your veins, whispering in your cells. Something is changing. Think of your body as a compass. When the needle quivers, it's not malfunctioning. It's aligning with a magnetic field you can't see, but can absolutely trust. That flutter in your heart when you pause, that's the needle spinning toward true north. That electric shiver crawling up your back when you read words like these, that's the circuitry of your nervous system tuning into coherence. The field is not out there, it is flowing through you, and your body is the antenna. Sometimes it feels like warmth, as though a hidden fire is kindling in your chest. Other times it's pressure, like your skull is expanding to hold more light than it was designed for. And sometimes it's subtle, a quiet hum beneath the noise of your thoughts, the faint sense that your skin is more porous than usual, as if the world is breathing through you. Don't dismiss these as coincidences. They are confirmations. They are how your quantum self reminds you that you are not only observing the shift, you are embodying it. This embodiment is essential because the loop doesn't just live in your mind, it lives in your body. Every repeated pattern etched grooves into your muscles, your posture, your breath. Trauma locked itself into your fascia, fear crouched in your stomach, delay weighted your shoulders. But as you realign, your body begins to rewrite its own history. That ache you thought was random might be an old pattern dissolving. That sudden burst of energy at midnight might be new timelines knocking. Even your sense of time in the body changes, hours passing like minutes when you're aligned, or minutes stretching like hours when you resist. It's like standing in a river. For years, you were fighting the current, your body tense, lungs burning. Now, in this pause, you feel the water shift. It's not dragging you anymore. It's carrying you. The tension releases. The current is no longer enemy, but ally. That ease you feel spreading through your chest is not laziness. It's alignment. It's the morphic resonance of flow, where the field carries what used to crush you. And you will notice the sensations become sharper when you're near choices that matter. Before you make a decision, your body will signal. A weight in your gut means, not this. A rush of lightness means, this way. The tingling in your scalp is not random, it's your crown opening, receiving instruction from timelines beyond this one. The goosebumps across your arms are not about temperature, they're about resonance. The chills you feel when synchronicities align are proof that the field is alive inside your nervous system. You are not just thinking your destiny into being, you are feeling it into coherence. Your body is the ritual. Every breath you take in presence sends a signal. Every heartbeat entrains with the quantum field. Every step you take in awareness collapses probabilities into pathways. You've become a living metronome, syncing not with the loop of repetition but with the rhythm of awakening. Imagine your DNA like a constellation. For years, many stars were dim, barely glowing, but as coherence strengthens, light begins to flicker across forgotten strands. You feel it as warmth, as vibration, as sudden clarity in the body. One by one, the stars ignite until the whole constellation glows. That glow is not just metaphor, it's energy you can feel rising through you, as if your body itself is becoming the lantern in the darkness. And here's the secret. The sensations are not a side effect. They are the proof. They are the body's way of saying, yes, the field is here. The shift is real. The loop dulls sensation, numbs you into autopilot. Awakening sharpens it, awakens you into awe. So the next time you feel the tingle, the warmth, the pressure, don't dismiss it. Lean into it. Breathe into it. That's your quantum self moving through you, inhabiting the vessel, steering the timeline. That's destiny, not in theory, but in flesh and bone. Right now, your entire system is standing inside a phase transition. If part 8 was about feeling the shift, part 9 is about becoming the shift. You are no longer simply a mind looking at possibility. You are a living threshold where two realities meet. One is the dense braid of your old observer loop, predictable, heavy, dragging its familiar stories behind it. The other is the radiant braid of your quantum self, faster, lighter, already coded for a future you've only glimpsed. As you read these words, those braids are twisting together inside your DNA, vying for expression. A phase transition is what happens when water becomes steam. The molecules don't politely line up and leave one state for another. They vibrate harder and harder until the old structure collapses and a new one emerges. That's why you've felt pressure lately, both emotional and physical. That's why old patterns are surfacing with a vengeance, why your dreams feel like fever visions, why time sometimes feels viscous and sometimes shatters into flashes. These are not signs of breakdown, they are the physics of breakthrough. Inside your cells, dormant strands of DNA, the imaginal cells of your potential, are switching on. Epigenetic tags you inherited from trauma, lineage, culture, even past lives are being released. New proteins are being expressed. Your nervous system is remyelinating to carry higher frequencies without burning out. You may feel buzzing under your skin, pulsing behind your eyes, or heat in your spine. That's your body upgrading its circuitry. The field around you is responding in kind. Timelines are shifting like tectonic plates. People who once felt central to your story may drift away. Opportunities you thought you missed may circle back in new form. Entire sequences of probability are reorganizing to match the new signal you're broadcasting. From the outside, it may look like chaos, but from the quantum perspective, it's coherence emerging from turbulence. This is the pressure of phase transition. The caterpillar's imaginal cells aren't politely invited by the old body. They're attacked by it, but they persist, cluster, and eventually become the blueprint of the butterfly. Likewise, your old identity may resist, sending waves of doubt, fatigue, or even physical symptoms. But those sensations are not failure. They're proof that the old code is dissolving. Here is how to navigate this window. First, remember, the loop wants reaction. It feeds on panic. When you feel the pressure, pause, breathe. Name the sensation without judging it. This stabilizes your nervous system and allows the quantum self to stay online. Second, anchor your ritual, your word, your gesture, your breath, whenever the pressure peaks. This tells your DNA which signal to follow. Third, trust the reorganization. The people, places, and timelines shifting around you are not loss, they're recalibration. You may also notice strange effects in time, hours disappearing, or a day stretching endlessly, vivid memories surfacing from years ago, prophetic dreams of futures you haven't lived yet. This is a sign you're stepping out of linear time and into the larger field, where all timelines coexist. Don't try to force them into logic, let them wash through you. They're not there to confuse you, they're there to orient you toward your next frequency. Most importantly, feel the breakthrough in your body. When the pressure peaks, place a hand on your heart and imagine light moving through your DNA like a spiral staircase, unlocking one level after another. Visualize your cells as constellations igniting, each one a star in the new map of your destiny. This isn't fantasy, it's an embodied signal to your nervous system, your epigenome, your morphic field. The more vividly you feel it, the faster the new pattern stabilizes. And as you stabilize, you'll start to notice the markers of your new timeline, synchronicities aligning like dominoes, opportunities appearing without effort, relationships shifting to mirror your inner state. Even your body may look subtly different. A light in your eyes, a softness in your face, a vitality in your movements. These are not random. They are the external signature of an internal rewrite. You are not just crossing into a new phase. You are the new phase. You are the proof that consciousness can restructure biology, that biology can restructure destiny. The phase transition pressure you're feeling is the last tremor of the old world loosening its grip. On the other side is a self whose signal is so coherent that timelines bend to it naturally. Breathe into that vision now. Feel your DNA as a living scroll unrolling, revealing codes that were sealed until this very moment. Feel the field rearranging like iron filings around a magnet, taking its cue from your new frequency. Know that the pressure is temporary, but the upgrade is permanent. This is the birth canal of your destiny. The silence after the storm is where truth speaks loudest. Feel it now, the hum beneath your ribs, the expansion in your chest, the lightness on your skin. That is not imagination. That is your quantum self fully seated in you, no longer knocking on the door, but steering the vessel. You've moved through the loop, through the distortions of time, through the phase transition pressure, and what remains is clarity. And here is the revelation. Your shift was never just yours. Every time your DNA ignited a dormant strand, the collective field brightened. Every pause you took sent ripples through the web of humanity. Every ritual you sealed rewrote the morphic code for countless others who will never know your name, but will one day breathe easier because of what you embodied. This is your cosmic mission, to live as proof, not to argue, not to convince, but to radiate. Your coherence itself is medicine. It destabilizes false systems, softens hardened hearts, ignites dormant souls. You don't need to save the whole world, you only need to embody your signal. The field takes care of the rest. That's how revolutions happen, not through force, but through resonance. Look at the world through this new lens. The chaos you see outside is not collapse, it is reorganization. Old structures are dissolving because enough individuals like you have chosen differently. You are part of that tide. Every act of alignment, every pause into presence, every word of coherence you speak is tipping the scales of destiny for humanity itself. You've stepped out of the observer loop. You've stopped begging reality to change and started selecting it. And by doing so, you've proven that destiny is not written in stone, it is written in frequency, your frequency. Remember this as you move forward. Your choices echo beyond you. The way you breathe, the way you love, the way you act in coherence is rewriting history in real time. You are not only living your own destiny, you are redirecting the trajectory of the species. Humanity's evolution is coded into your liberation. So pause once more. Feel the field align. Recognize the immensity of what you've stepped into. And carry this truth like fire in your bones. If you pause right now, your quantum self will step in and redirect your whole destiny, and through you, the destiny of humanity itself.